How's it going, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day. As you guys know, my name is Zachary, and welcome back to SDC. Guys, we had 22 teams in action last night. In my mind, this was like the real opening night for the NBA because you just had games going down left and right. I was trying to watch 3 games at once last night just so I could do my best to keep you guys informed and give you guys the view of the games from a guy who actually watches the games the day after. That's what I'm going to be trying to do on this channel. So with that being said, let's just take a look at these games that we got to get into today. By far, one of the most anticipated games of last night was the Philadelphia 76ers versus the Boston Celtics. This is one of the rivalries that we do have to look forward to in the NBA. As we all know, in the past, this was a matchup that was heavily dominated by the Boston Celtics, as guys like Al Horford and Aaron Baines made it really hard for Joel Embiid down there in the paint, and not only to mention that it's the infamous team that Ben Simmons scored 1 point against in the playoffs. The Boston Celtics versus the Philadelphia 76ers. It looked a lot different last night compared to how it looked in previous seasons. We were all kind of curious to see how this Philadelphia 76ers team would play on the court together. They underwent some significant changes over the offseason, such as bringing in a guy like Josh Richardson, and then you have Al Horford now at the 4 spot. Al Horford and Joel Embiid, the Philadelphia 76ers twin towers. And that's the main point that I want to make about this game. The Boston Celtics are too small to be hanging with the Philadelphia 76ers. If there's one thing that was made evident last night, it was that simple fact. 107-93 the final score. The Philadelphia 76ers really pulling away in that second half, and Boston just didn't stand a chance after that. And like I said, this Boston Celtics team is far too small to be trying to play against the Philadelphia 76ers and maybe some other NBA teams that we might see as the season goes on. Here's the thing. The Celtics were out-rebounded by the Sixers 61-41. And this was a concern for the Celtics heading into the season. You look at their roster and they have Enes Kanter as their starting center. Enes Kanter. I have nothing against Enes Kanter. I think he's a terrific player. A lot of teams would love to have him coming off their bench. The reason why is because Enes Kanter really doesn't hold down the middle like a starting NBA center should. He's not going to deflect anyone from trying to go into the paint. No one's scared of trying to challenge Enes Kanter at the rim. That's a massive problem for the Boston Celtics, and it's only compounded by the fact that the rest of the roster around Enes Kanter and Gordon Hayward and Kemba Walker and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, the guy who just got paid a max extension and didn't really live up to it last night. I mean, this is a very small Boston Celtics team. And the Philadelphia 76ers exposed that last night. The Philadelphia 76ers were playing one of the most grindy styles of basketball that I have seen in quite some time. Almost every possession used up the entire 24-second shot clock. They were waiting until the shot clock got down to like 6 or 5 to start making a play. That's the pace that the Philadelphia 76ers are going to be looking to play with this season now that they do have such a massive starting 5. That being said, the Sixers did show their flaws in this game as well, and we all already knew exactly what those flaws were going to be coming into this season. The first thing is their bench depth. They ain't got much of a bench whatsoever. They have a fabulous starting 5, but those 6, 7, 8, number 6, 7, 8 on the bench, it starts to take a bit of a dip. And not only that, but their 3-point shooting. The Philadelphia 76ers aren't going to be a great 3-point shooting team by any stretch of the imagination unless they make some moves this season. And that's part of why you saw them playing such a slow, grindy, pounded in the paint type of game. It's exactly what they said they were going to do, and they're doing just that. So really, we just have to see how far this will take them. How is it going to match up against teams like Houston, who will be shooting 50 to 60% of their shots from outside of the arc. Next up though, we gotta talk about the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving making his debut in Brooklyn against Karl-Anthony Towns and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, I had the Brooklyn Nets pegged to win this game. This was a home game. Kyrie Irving looking to make his home debut. The Minnesota Timberwolves are like a 500 team. They're a good team in the NBA, but they're for sure a team that the Brooklyn Nets, I thought, should have been able to beat, but that didn't turn out to be the case. Early on, it looked like this thing was going to be a blowout. I believe the Brooklyn Nets fell behind by 18 points at one point in time. Kyrie Irving was playing his heart out there, but overall, the Brooklyn Nets just didn't look like they were going to be able to get it done until things started clicking, and especially things within Kyrie Irving. The man was sizzling. This is the Kyrie Irving that we really didn't see at all last season. 50 points, 8 rebounds, and 7 assists in an overtime loss to the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie Irving had a shot to win it at the buzzer, lost his balance on the crossover a bit, and the shot kind of rimmed out. I want to say that final move that Kyrie Irving was attempting to do, I feel like it was about to be something legendary had he not lost his balance. Matter of fact, even though he lost his balance, it was a move that Kyrie Irving kind of made seem like he did on purpose. It got him open, didn't it? But the shot just wouldn't drop. Karl-Anthony Towns, 36 points, 14 rebounds, and Andrew Wiggins, 21 points on 27 shots, but he was huge in the fourth quarter and overtime as well, so he sort of gets a pass there. But now here's the thing that I want to say about Kyrie Irving. I think this is going to be the season where he looks to put his name cementedly in that upper tier of players. Because here's the thing, especially guard players, because here's the thing. You look at guards like Stephen Curry, and then you have Kyrie Irving. Everyone puts Kyrie Irving a shade below Stephen Curry. You look at James Harden. Kyrie Irving, a little below James Harden. Look at a lot of these elite guards that people are talking about, and especially after last season, Kyrie Irving doesn't get mentioned in that conversation as much anymore. We all recognize that he's one of the top 10 point guards in the NBA easily, but there's a tier that he's just below when it comes to guys like Stephen Curry and James Harden, especially after this past season, after all the flack he caught for what went wrong with the Boston Celtics. Because of that, and because of the fact that Kevin Durant isn't going to play for the Brooklyn Nets this season, meaning that this isn't going to be the year that the Brooklyn Nets look to bring home that championship, I think that this could be a year that Kyrie Irving really looks to elevate his game personally to the next level, but not only that, show that he can lead a team. Because here's the thing, Kyrie Irving has never really been able to lead a team successfully in the postseason by himself just yet. Of course, his first stint with the Cleveland Cavaliers before LeBron was an absolute disaster. To no fault of Kyrie Irving himself, he was young and the team around him was absolute garbage. But then he gets to the Boston Celtics and they do great in the regular season the first year. However, in the postseason, Kyrie Irving doesn't get to play. He doesn't show how far he can lead a team in the playoffs. And then the next season was just an absolute disaster that had people questioning Kyrie Irving's leadership overall. So now this season, with his hometown Brooklyn Nets team, I expect him to also look to carry this team not only to the playoffs, but win a few games of the playoffs and hopefully make it out of the first round. I think Kyrie Irving leading a team to a playoff win, a playoff series win by himself, will go far in kind of turning the negative stigma that has surrounded his name when it comes to being a leader. Next up though, we gotta talk about the Denver Nuggets and the Portland Trailblazers. This was another game that I think a lot of people were looking forward to just because it's two of the best Western Conference teams going at it. It was two of the best Western Conference teams, especially last night, going at it. However, early on, you could tell that this was a game that the Nuggets were dictating the pace and how it was going to go down, even when Nikola Jokic picked up his 3 early fouls. Picked up 3 fouls in the first 4 minutes of the first game of the season. Not how any player wants their season to start, but we all know that it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish. And Nikola Jokic, despite playing in foul trouble, still finished the game with 20 points and 13 rebounds. That's pretty pedestrian for Nikola Jokic, but still, with everything that happened through that game, you couldn't have asked anything more from Nikola Jokic, and the Nuggets eventually get the win over the Blazers. Damian Lillard with 32 points, and Hassan Whiteside actually looked pretty nice in his Blazers debut. 16 points and 17 rebounds on the night. But here's the thing that I noticed about the Blazers last night. They also could use a bit of help when it comes to their bench and their depth. Kind of like the Philadelphia 76ers, this Blazers team needs help off the bench, big time. Right now, the biggest thing they did to get help off the bench was bring in Kent Bazemore over the summer. And Kent Bazemore is a player who, if he's utilized correctly, can help some teams coming off the bench. But last night was not one of those nights, and last night overall for the Portland Trailblazers bench was just disgraceful, and that's probably why they lost to the Denver Nuggets at home on opening night. I'm gonna tell you guys right now, right this very instant, that it is far too early to give up on Markelle Fultz. I know a lot of people were trading in their Markelle Fultz hype tickets that they had purchased earlier after the preseason. Markelle Fultz couldn't hit a shot to save his life during the preseason. The Magic were playing him, he was getting shots up, but nothing was going in. Well, I'm here to tell you guys today that if you gave up hope on Markelle Fultz after that you are beyond crazy. From what I've seen from Markelle Fultz last night, it was evident, it was clear as day that this guy still has what it takes to be one of the most electrifying players in the NBA. In the entire NBA. Last night, he played around 20 minutes, got 12 points and 6 assists off the bench, 6 of 12 shooting. And I'm not gonna sit up here and act like every shot that he took was this beautiful thing of art, because it wasn't. There were still some shots that Markelle Fultz took that when he took them and you saw that hitch, you saw that shooting form, that it kind of made you want to hurl a little bit. It's unsettling to see, because when he shoots it, you can just tell that does not look right. However, what I did see from Markelle Fultz was his ability to get to the rim, to maneuver in traffic, to make some beautiful passes in traffic. He would have had a couple of more assists if his teammates were used to playing with him and were catching some of these dimes that he's been dropping. This guy has talent. This guy has a lot of talent. The only problem right now is his range is the free throw line. That's the only thing that we're waiting to see from Markelle Fultz, and I do believe that one day it's just going to come back to him. He's just going to be able to hit his shots again, and that's when we're really going to see Markelle Fultz become the electrifying player that he is destined to become. Next up, we got my favorite team, the Detroit Pistons, who just got notified 24 hours before the tip-off of this game that they're going to be without Blake Griffin for about the first 5 or 6 games of the season, as the medical team makes sure that nothing is wrong with his knee. And after hearing that, as a Pistons fan and seeing the Pistons from the past, I thought we were pretty screwed. We're going up against the Indiana Pacers. Yes, they do not have Victor Oladipo, but this is still a very, very good Indiana Pacers team. Right? They won 48 games last year. Won 48 games last year and got much deeper over the offseason. So I was nervous about this game coming into it, and I was nervous pretty much up until the fourth quarter when the Pistons started to pull away and came away with a 119-110 win over the Indiana Pacers. Andre Drummond with one of the most dominant game ones of the season in NBA history. 32 points, 23 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 3 steals in 41 whopping minutes of action. After the game, there was jokes being made that Andre Drummond needs to be playing 41 minutes every single night so we can get this type of production from him, because in his mind, it tells him that the team needs him, and Andre Drummond is a player who plays better when he's felt that he's needed and when he felt he's being appreciated. 100%, you see it every time if you watch Andre Drummond play. So I'm down with seeing the big man play big minutes every game if we get production like this. Once again, 32 points, 23 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 3 steals. That's an absolutely monster game. And not only that, you got Luke Kennard, the player that I've been trying to tell everyone about for the past couple of years. The player who I said is going to be that guy for the Detroit Pistons one day, proved that he was going to be that guy for the Detroit Pistons. This could be a breakout year for Luke Kennard, guys. 30 points on 6 of 9 field goals from beyond the arc, a new career high. And not only that, Derrick Rose looked great in his first game as a Piston as well, with 18 points and 9 assists off the bench. I'd like to take a second to give a standing ovation. Guys can't even see this, but I am giving this standing ovation to the Miami Heat front office. I gave that standing ovation to the Miami Heat front office. Pat Riley, I got mixed feelings about Pat Riley after learning about him. Of him over this summer and the way that he can kind of operate. The guy is a stickler for the rules, and he's gonna push you harder than you've ever been pushed before. Sometimes that's good, sometimes he goes a bit overboard. He's pushing the Miami Heat, and especially pushing these rookies, these young guys that the Miami Heat have. The Miami Heat got 2 gems over this offseason. The first one's been talked about a little in Tyler Herro. All right, the guy was a magnificent in Summer League, magnificent in preseason, and in his first debut with the Miami Heat, you could tell the nerves were getting to him a bit, but he still pulled it out and had a good game with 14 points and 8 rebounds. He's gonna be a great player. But another guy that the Miami Heat got from the Warriors G League last year was Kendrick Nunn. First off, in the final game of the Summer League against the Houston Rockets, not the Summer League, the preseason against the Houston Rockets, this dude went out and was hitting threes left and right, finished with 40 points. 40 points. Last night, after all the buzz about his three-point shooting, he says, you know what? I'm only going to attempt 2 threes this game. I'm going to make one of the 2, but I'm still going to drop 24 points. This guy was playing in the G League for the Warriors last year and was undrafted out of Oakland. And he's out here dropping 40 and then following that up with 24 in the first game of the regular season when it actually matters. The Miami Heat found themselves a couple of players, and this game was played without Jimmy Butler, and the Heat still came back to get the dominant 120-101 win over the Memphis Grizzlies, spoiling Ja Morant's debut for the Grizzlies. And not only those 2 players, but I really like what I saw out of Justice Winslow last night too. This was the guy who we were all saying is going to have to step up and be that other guy next to Jimmy Butler. Winslow, over the summer, talking about how he wants to be the guy with the ball in his hands for the Miami Heat. He wants to be the starting point guard. Technically, he still plays his forward spot, but he was the one handling the ball last night and did a terrific job. 27 points, 7 rebounds, and 7 assists. Look, we all know this Miami Heat team is going to make the playoffs this year. They're not going to miss it like they did last year. They got Jimmy Butler, and Winslow was turning the corner at some point last year too. But we know they're going to make the playoffs. Now the only question is, really, how good are the Miami Heat actually going to be? They could be a lot better than I think even I was giving them credit before the season began. Other games, we got the San Antonio Spurs beating the New York Knicks 120-111. DeJounte Murray, the guy who missed the entire season last year for the Spurs, their starting point guard of the future, came back and did his thing. In just 23 minutes of action, Murray had 18 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists. The kid is going to be nice. He was already the defensive stud, but now it's looked like he's finding things out on the offensive end too, and that should be scary. Other than that though, for the Knicks, good news is that RJ Barrett looked like he is also going to be something special out there in the basketball court. Talking about a rookie scoring 21 points on 9 of 13 field goals in his debut, that doesn't happen that often. That's a tough place to play, and he handled it magnificently. The Charlotte Hornets actually coming away with the 126-125 win over the Bulls. No Zach LaVine for Chicago in this one, but Lauri Markkanen was out there doing his thing. 35 points and 17 rebounds. Like I said, it was in a losing effort, partly because the number 12 pick out of Kentucky for the Hornets, PJ Washington, came out onto the scene really strong. 27 points on 7 of 11 from 3 for the rookie, while Dwayne Bacon, the second-year man, also added 22. Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic got their first win together, their first official win together over the Washington Wizards. 108-100 final score in this one. Luka Doncic with 34 points and 9 rebounds, while Porzingis had 23. As for the Washington Wizards, this is about to be a very long season to be a Wizards fan. Hopefully, Rui Hachimura continues to look nice. He was okay last night, so we'll see where this goes for them. Who would have thought the Phoenix Suns' first game of the season will be a blowout? If you were thinking a loss, you'd actually be wrong. The Phoenix Suns got the blowout win over the Sacramento Kings, 124-95. Devin Booker did his thing, 22 points and 10 assists, and DeAndre Ayton with 18 points and 11 rebounds. For the Kings, I can guarantee you that De'Aaron Fox, after having such a disappointing opening night, only scoring 8 points to go with 5 assists, he's going to be looking to get into his bag for his next game. This game didn't sit too well with him, and he's going to be looking to take it out on whatever team the Sacramento Kings play next. And for what will be our final game of the day, the Utah Jazz beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 100-95 behind Donovan Mitchell's 32 points and 12 rebounds. Good news for the Jazz is that this game probably wouldn't have been as close had Mike Conley played like Mike Conley instead of like someone that the Monstars zapped their powers from, because last night, Conley only scored 5 points on 1 of 16 field goals. That's never going to happen again. There will never be another night period where Mike Conley goes 1 of 16 from the field. And the fact that the Jazz were still able to win, even though their starting point guard, their star acquisition over the summer was 1 for 16 in his debut, that's a pretty good sign. Another pretty good sign though in this game was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the guy who the Thunder are looking to build around now, or who will be a cornerstone for the Thunder moving forward, proving exactly why he should be a cornerstone for the Thunder moving forward, scoring 26 points on the night. That though was actually going to do it for all of the games that we had to cover today. 22 teams played last night. We got a heck of a lot more playing today, so you guys know what that means, that I'll be right back here tomorrow to cover those games, because we're doing this every Monday through Friday. So with that being the case, go ahead and make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications turned on so you don't miss out on future videos, as well as smash the like button to show your support for the channel, to show your support for this, as it does help the channel grow. It's all greatly appreciated. But with that being said, until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!